time for the birds to go outside. Here is part 2 of raising my meat birds. This is from about 2 to 3 weeks old, or when they get into the tractor, all the way through week 8 or processing day. If you missed part 1 of this series, which is about what breeds to pick as meat birds, raising them in the brooder, and kind of getting started, I'll leave that video in the description. But this go around, the weather allowed me to get these birds out at about the 2-week mark, which is absolutely fantastic. They had so much more space in the tractor when they're younger, and they were able to get in the sun and outside a lot sooner. Once I moved these birds outside, I started feeding them the Meat Bird Grower. This feed contains a high amount of protein at 22%, and I do not feed my chickens 24/7. They will eat themselves to death. So remember, don't leave food in your tractor 24/7. But what I do is when these birds are about 2 to 5 weeks, I feed them a decent amount once a day. And then as they get older, as I'm finishing them off at about 5 to 8 week mark, I give them access to unlimited food throughout the day, and then I take away their food at night. I want them to eat as much as they can when they get older, but I also want to give their organs a break overnight and not let them overeat. When they get bigger, in that like week 5 to week 8 mark, I also move my chicken tractor a lot more frequent. I typically move it 2 to 3 times a day. So my chicken tractor is on the smaller end, which makes it easy to move, but harder in some ways. And I have quite a few birds in this smaller chicken tractor. And the last thing I want for them is not to have fresh water or fresh grass or the right amount of food. And so I move them very, very frequently. This is also why I choose to do so many chickens at a time. This takes quite a bit of time on top of my regular chores. So my goal is to raise meat birds just like 1 time a year and then have pretty much enough meat for a full year, pretty much enough chickens for a full year. So it's, quite a bit of work doing this at least once a day, and then at the very end, 3 times a day, changing water, adding feed, moving the tractor. And so I want to do, in the whole processing day. So I want to do enough to make all that worth it. So I choose to do quite a bit of chickens and then do it, raise them less frequently. Are you ready? The chickens! I wanted to share, these guys are much better foragers than my other round of meat birds, and I think it's because I put them out on pasture or grass earlier, just weather permitting. They were able to get on pasture earlier, but anytime I move these guys to patch of fresh grass, which is like 2-3 times a day now that they're a little bigger, they just go crazy foraging. And so that's awesome to see because they're getting so much more of their nutrients just from the ground and from the land and bugs. And this guy's eating grass right here, and that's so much better for us and our chickens. But they are much better doing this than my other rounds of meat birds. And I think I just got them on pasture younger, and it's made a big difference. So wanted to share. All right, let's talk about processing supplies. So when you're about at this 6-week mark, I try to start thinking and getting my supplies together. So first things first, you need a chicken plucker. I personally rent mine for $50 a day, and I found someone on Facebook Marketplace that rents this to me. If you want to buy a chicken plucker, that's a great investment, but they're pretty expensive off the bat. Then you need an outdoor seafood like broil/fry kit, one of those things with the propane burner stand and the large stock pot. And this is for initially kind of boiling and loosening the feathers of your bird before they go in the chicken plucker. Next, you need your kill cones. You can also rent these, but they're not super expensive to buy, so we just went ahead and bought ours a few rounds ago. And then you need several coolers. Depending on how many birds you do, you might need, more coolers than others. We'll probably need about 3 coolers. We'll need some tables setting up for doing the gutting and that kind of thing. A few good knives, again, for the same reasons. And then your shrink wrap freezer bags so that you can store your chickens. And I get a lot of this stuff off of Amazon, like my kill cones, my freezer bags, some of my knives. And so I'll leave some links in the description of this video of the things I use and frequently buy. And then I'm also going to video our processing day. That should be out a week from now. And so if you want to see our setup in that video as well, or how we process chickens, be on the lookout for that.
All right, another thing that when I first started doing meat birds, I was kind of concerned about was these birds are like right at the 6-week mark, a few days over 6 weeks. And I got to this point and I thought, oh my gosh, I'm butchering or processing in 2 weeks. I've rented equipment. I have family coming, friends coming to help. And my chickens look small, and I panicked, and I started Googling, what do Cornish cross chickens look at 6 weeks, at 7 weeks, and I started panicking. And one thing I need to tell you guys is trust the process. There's a reason people say to process in between 7 and 9 weeks. These birds grow a ton that last week, and then because they grow so fast, you want to kind of process them right when they get full grown. You don't want them to go too long. Sometimes their feet can't support that high of a weight. It sounds strange, but anyway, trust the process. And so I wanted to show you guys how they look right at 6 weeks. Some are bigger than others, but some are pretty small. Like, they are in no way ready to be processed today. And again, like, we're 2 weeks out from processing, a week and a half out from processing. And so trust the process, but I really start feeding a lot more, like I said, the last few weeks. These guys really have access to unlimited food except for at night, but during the day they can eat as much as they want. And I move them a lot so they can forage. These guys are eating grass and bugs right now, so I just moved them on new grass. So trust the process. They'll grow a lot that last week. They really shoot up. But I wanted to show you, here they are at 6 weeks, and they're not huge. I also want to show you kind of where they've been, the path that they've been. Let me do that. Okay, here's a better look at them at the 6 week mark. Again, they're big, but not huge. So like that little guy back there, like that is not a small chicken at all. Some of them are bigger, but not necessarily. So don't be worried. They will be big by the time it's processing day. But yeah, that was my biggest, again, I was panic Googling the first time I did this. So trust the process. I also want to show you guys where they've been. So, hey, Jobs. Here she is over there. How cute. So this is the path that they've been on. You can see it from other grass. So they were, here this morning on this patch, here overnight, yesterday morning. You can see where they've been. And a crucial thing is to make sure that you have enough space when you do this, or wherever you put your chicken tractor, because you really don't want to re-graze. This is probably where the water was sitting one time when they were here. But you really don't want to put them on any of this land really for another 60 days. And your chickens are only with us for about 2 months. So each round of meat chickens, you really don't want to put them on any of this land that they've been. Just kind of walking the path of where they've been. And again, they were a lot smaller when they were at this path, but you can definitely still see. So this is where they have been. Again, I'm not going to regraze this, for at least 60 days. I won't do another round of meat birds though until next year, so it doesn't really matter. But this is where they've been. Like, they were little when they were on this path. And you can still see how eaten down it is. The good thing is though, is that it's super positive for your, fertilization of your grass and eating down the weeds and all that. And these fruit trees are gonna love it that they just got all this chicken poop and fertilization. A few more things. So one, if you like this video or like any of my videos, please subscribe. It helps me a ton to keep my channel going. Or like and comment on this video so that YouTube keeps pushing it to new viewers and, shows that you guys like it. Secondly is we're processing from when I'll post this video, we're going to process that Saturday. So I may do my first ever live that Saturday. That's November 16th, our processing day behind the scenes. It's so fun. I have family coming and friends, and we play music and we just make it a party. So may do a live behind the scenes on that, but I will at least do kind of an updated processing video and show all the materials we use, show how to do it, and do a follow-up with that. So be looking for that video. That'll come out that Tuesday after the 16th. So, oh gosh, maybe the 19th or 20th, whatever that Tuesday is. The last thing is I want to talk about cost of raising meat birds. So my total cost when I break it all down is $7.50 per chicken. That cost includes my chicken tractor, or sorry, not my chicken tractor. I didn't include that cost because I've already built this and I've done this a few times, and so I didn't include the cost of my chicken tractor. But it includes the chicken plucker, which is $50 for the day. The cost of chickens, which is $97. And then I have purchased 7 bags of feed for these guys at $22 a bag. So when I add all that up and divide it by 40, I've got 40 birds. That is $7.50 a chicken. So again, not the cheapest, but certainly not the most expensive, especially for organic, free range, non-GMO, good for you chicken. And the total I think is like $302 or something, that total. And for $300 to stock my freezer full of chicken for a year, and one chicken will eat on, 1 or 2 times, plus make bone broth with, I think that's a pretty good deal. But if you have any ways that you do it cheaper per chicken than that, please let me know. Again, in my cost, I'm including the chicken plucker machine that I rent, their feed, and then the cost of the chicks. But yeah, if you do it cheaper per chicken, I would love to hear your ways and learn more about that. But again, not bad. So yeah, I'd love to hear any feedback from you guys, how you do your meat chickens, and then stay tuned and watch the processing video. And if I get brave enough, watch the live on Saturday the 16th. Thank you guys.